Welcome to the Rustic Garden, and I think video number 4 of my community garden. I want to just talk about two things today. I'll give you a little tour as we go along too. But I want to talk about oil sprays, how do you use the soap to set them up, and a little bit about preemptive spraying, and trellises. Coming right down here, I have a gallon of water, some Simply Clean non-concentrated Dawn soap, and a lot of people ask me, how much soap do you put in to 1 gallon? And it varies on how concentrated your soap is, so kind of follow this process and I think it'll make sense. So I have my neem oil. I have 1 tablespoon of neem oil in that gallon of water, and I put in 1 teaspoon of the non-concentrated Dawn soap, and you can see right up here, that's the oil floating. The key, or the purpose of the soap, is to disperse this oil all through the water so that when you make a spray, you get a fine coating of the oil on the leaves. And you can watch when I shake this, see how the oil is floating on the top and it comes right back up. That's not enough soap. So 1 teaspoon of the non-concentrated Simply Clean Dawn doesn't work. So you have to go to 2 teaspoons, and it's going to vary on the different soaps you use. And again, you put soap in there so that the oil gets dispersed. If not, your sprayer just takes the water from down here, and as you get closer, you're going to get all this oil that's going to damage your plant. Here's my sprayer. I have 1 gallon of the neem oil in there, or I have 1 gallon of water in there, 1 tablespoon of the neem oil in there, and you can put 1 to 2 tablespoons of neem oil in. And when I shake it, you can see that it did come to the surface again. It's hard to tell, but it's not as bad as that one. But when I mix this up, it stays dispersed for a good 3 to 5 minutes, and that's all you really need. You don't want to overdo the soap. You just want enough in there so that oil is dispersed through there. And every couple of minutes, I give this a shake when I'm spraying my plants. And I'll show you how I spray as soon as we finish up the trellises. Here are my dwarf variety tomatoes that I showed at the last video. They're doing really, really well, nice and green, and they're starting to flower in there. So they're not going to get much bigger than that, at least the ones in the front. Okay, trellises. You can use really anything for peas, for beans, for cucumbers, the lighter climbing vegetables. These are just bamboo poles that I drop into the buckets, usually use 4, make a square around them, tie some jute going up the bamboo poles, and the peas will climb right up there. Very, very simple, not expensive, easy to do. Here's one that is not really more complicated, but that was free bamboo, straight planting of peas across the bottom, and I just tie the jute string in a really random pattern all the way across, all the way up. Not pretty, but effective, and I kind of like, you know, the rustic look. And you can see the peas are starting to flower, so I should be getting them soon. I've been eating out of the leafy green garden. The arugula's gone, some of the lettuce is gone. Now you can start getting a little bit fancier by going to thrift stores or garage sales. Those are CD racks. Nothing's growing on them yet, but I'm going to grow some mid-range climbing beans up them. And they're metal. They're really, really sturdy. They were only $7 each, and I think it's going to be a really cool addition to the climbing part of the garden. But it's already set up, and you can find things just like this at the thrift stores. All you want to do is put a wooden post down there, sinking in at least 6 to 8 inches, and then secure it off. I secure off a lot of the stuff at the community garden with these aluminum fence ties. If you keyword search aluminum fence ties, you can find them. They're really sturdy, easy to bend, and you can do all kinds of things with them, and they're going to last. Instead of the zip ties, which usually UV ray out in a couple of years, I like to use the aluminum fence ties. And again, that's just a CD rack, and that's going to be perfect for mid-range bean climbers. Here's another trellis. You can get some posts and just put fencing right across post to post, and that's a great place for your peas to climb up. If you don't want to use the thicker fencing, this is what I just had left over, you can use chicken wire. You can see again one of those aluminum fence ties right there. That will work perfectly well. Now you can get a little bit more fancy, and I did that over here. Let me step back so you can see it. I built this yesterday, and that's going to be where my beans grow. 6 posts screwed into the raised bed, and capped off with some fencing to give it a nice look. So I'm going to be growing beans along each of those posts. It's a great way to save space by growing vertically, and it was really, really inexpensive. These are 12-foot poles, so I needed 3 of them, and I think they were maybe $7 each, so I just had them cut in half at Home Depot. And then these pieces up here, this one's still loose, that was only like $1.95. So you can really construct something nice that will last. This is pressure treated wood. It's pressure treated with copper for the last 10 or 15 years, so you don't have to worry about the myth about it poisoning your vegetables. Once you have the posts up, depending on what you have climbing, you can just go ahead and cut some chicken wire. I mean, I basically cut down straight down the middle of chicken wire and made this climbing post. I like to put a screw down in an angle like this, and then you can pull this down really tight and just drop it into the hoop, and this secures the chicken wire to your post. And then you do one opposite right up here, and same thing, you would lift it and drop it on, and then you just use jute to tie it down to keep the bubble out. But this would be for a different variety of climbing beans. Some of them will really just wrap, so they can wrap around the wood. Other ones have more tendrils, and you want something like this chicken wire for them to climb up. So those are the different trellises that I'm using in my garden, again, to grow vertically. And you could grow cucumbers up, most of them. The ones with the chicken wire, or the one that I just showed you, is pretty solid, so that can take some weight of like cucumbers. So now, coming over to spray, let's see if I can do this with my left hand. You can again see that the oil is settled. I'm just going to mix it up. And the preemptive spraying is, I know that crazy white moth is going to be coming to my garden, and it's going to be laying the eggs of the green cabbage looper, and they're going to be eating holes in my kale. So shake up your sprayer. It's got enough soap in there, but not too much. And then a really fine mist, just like that. You want to cover the outer leaves, the undersides, and that will get the neem oil or whatever you want to spray at the time that's oil-based all over your plant. And again, just give it a shake. You know, you can do it every minute, you can do it every 30 seconds, every couple of minutes, but that will get the neem oil out. So when that white moth comes by, lays the eggs, and they hatch, the little green worms will eat the neem oil, and they'll have their digestion shut down from the azadirachtin. And here are my broccolis. They would all get a spray. I'll do it more thoroughly. Cabbages, same thing. And right in here you can see the holes. That was from a green cabbage looper. I already found that one and removed it. But it's time to spray. Don't wait till you start seeing all the holes. Use a record book and write down when the pests come. So I know this moth really showed up really last month, but it's going to be coming out in really with a vengeance now that it's May, and it's going to be everywhere. Hope you enjoyed the video. This gives you some ideas of how to use soap with your oil sprays, how to use the oil sprays, and gives you some ideas of how you can create trellises for your garden. Please check out my blog at www.theroastedgarden.blogspot.com, and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.